This is the plaintiff, Carolyn Martin. She says she came home from work one night, parked her Chevy Trailblazer where she always parks it, and her neighbor, the defendant, had it towed. The grumpy woman with nothing better to do complained she had parked in an assigned spot, but there are no assigned spots in her apartment complex. Her medication was in that car, and her life could have been in jeopardy if she didn't have extra in her house. She's suing her nasty neighbor for $1,500 for lost work, tow charges, and pain and suffering. This is the defendant, Robin. She says this whole lawsuit's just ridiculous because they do in fact have assigned spots at their complex, and the plaintiff was parked in hers. She called the management office who instructed her to call a tow company, and that's just what she did. Bottom line, the woman has no case, and the judge will throw it out of court, bang the gavel, and send the troublemaking plaintiff on her way with nothing. She's accused of causing a neighborly feud.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff is pissed. The defendant had her Chevy Trailblazer towed from the apartment's parking spot, but the defendant says it was her spot. So tough. It's the case of park it here. No, don't.
Thank you, Douglas. Carolyn Martin, you are suing Robin. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $1,500 because she caused you to get towed. Tell me what happened here.
Well, I came home from work one day. Actually, I was going through a lot of testing. I have problems with the diabetes, and my sugar level was quite irregular. So I've been having quite a few complications. So they gave me medication, but that was just while I was there. So when I came home, on the way home, I was very delirious. So I says, well, let me just park anywhere where I could find a spot, because there were no spots available at the time.
So you parked in her space?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's her space because I've always parked there.
In that space, you've always parked there?
For 2 years, yes. I've always parked there when there's no more spots available.
Okay, but is it her space or isn't it?
No, there's no parking. There's no assigned parking.
Oh, there's no assigned parking in the building?
No, and it's in my lease where it says no assigned parking.
Okay, you have a very different version, right?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And what is your different version?
On November 20th, I received a notice from management. They had assigned
20th of what year?
2012.
Okay.
They had assigned parking. They painted all 16 spaces in front of my building with the apartment numbers, and I have pictures with my space painted and all the other ones.
Okay, do you live in the same building she lives in?
No.
So why are you parking there at all?
There were no more parking spots. That lot
So it's
is
in front of her building?
It's not just in front of her building. If you look at, I could show you a diagram. That would be a lot easier.
No, I'd rather see a picture. You have a picture?
Yeah.
Let me see a picture. And let me see the letter you say you got from management. Was it only addressed to your building?
Yeah,
No, it's to attention residents.
So it's to, there's more than one building and it was to every resident?
Yes.
Attention residents, the assigned parking spaces have been painted so there should be no further confusion regarding which space belongs to you or your neighbor. Please park in your assigned space only. You can also use a circle, but not during poor weather. All vehicles not abiding by these rules will be subjected to towing. Blah, 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 the management. Okay? What is this a picture of?
I parked, see the aisle behind, right where your hand is? Exactly. That's where I parked.
Okay, but there's not even parking spaces there, so that can't be, that's not even marked spaces.
I took the picture at the time, I guess, maybe before they put those signs down.
Well, let me see. You've got pictures of everything painted, and the date is before this happened, because you got towed when? April 4th of 2013. Mm-hmm. So that's 6 months after they claimed to have painted it.
Yeah.
That's her lot.
I never received that letter.
That's different from what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I hear you never received that letter.
Right.
That's because this isn't your building. But what I am telling you is that in this letter, they are claiming to have painted it back when? November 20th. Mm-hmm. And her picture has, of course, the numbers painted on the floor, so there should be absolutely no confusion. The picture you have taken is of a sign that says Adam Thorogood. Does that sound like the name of your building?
It's possible, yeah.
Possible.
But those,
there. You see that thing in your face every day? You don't know? Okay.
I know, I'm sorry. That picture, though, I'm not really sure. Here's another picture of me from my car, and I'm
Here's what I
headed-
don't understand. What would, if the thing's not marked, what would give the tow company a right to tow? I mean, you call the tow company because you see somebody in your space.
And it is, well, here's...
Had she repeatedly parked in your space before?
No.
Did you just
No,
see
no
somebody in your space? So you called who? The management or the tow company?
I first knocked on her door. And at that point, the talking inside of the apartment silenced. The television was silenced. No one answered. I went back home. I called the police department. They said it's private property. We cannot tow. I called the management company. They were closed. They said, follow the notice that you received. Call the tow truck company of your choosing. And that's what I did.
Well, Your Honor, what I find to be very confusing is she says she called management. Of course, I called
That she
management.
says what?
She called management. And she asked, what do I do about someone parking in my spot?
No, she said she called management and nobody called. And nobody answered.
Well, she got the okay through management to tow the car.
Wait, just a moment. Did you say you got the okay through management to tow the car?
I said that I called management. They were closed. The answering service said, follow the notice that you have.
The answering service is an answering service. That's it. She doesn't say she had management's authority.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, does she have any authority? I have one question in my mind. Were the spaces painted or weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
When you say to me, when you go into all of the detail you went through about how loopy you were, it sounds like you're trying to apologize for taking someone's space. So I'm just thrown for a loop how it is.
And that's what I'm getting ready to say. When I called management and actually spoke to a person, of course, it's now in the morning, and I told them about the whole ordeal. And they said, well, we're very sorry. We have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, they don't want to get into it. They don't want you to sue them.
But I said, the problem is that you guys said that there's no assigned apartment, no assigned parking. And she says, yes. So I said, does that apply to me or to company? And they said, that applies to company. I said, so I can park anywhere on the complex.
Do you have any proof of everything you're saying?
Only in my lease. She said, your lease stays the same.
Okay, let me just see your lease. Although your lease wouldn't, whatever. Let me see what you're talking about in your lease.
Yeah,
Do you have any
so-
proof from management that there's no assigned parking? That's what I'm asking. You're telling me hearsay. Management told me there was no assigned parking. I'm looking at it and there's assigned parking. And I'm looking at management says, so I need proof of what you're saying, which is management told you there's no assigned parking.
Yeah, and she just says, look at your lease because nothing's changed.
She didn't say that because there's this and there's this. So I know she didn't say that because she couldn't have told you, oh, don't worry, there's no assigned parking.
That's
I know
exactly
that
what she
management
said.
sent out this saying there should be no further problems because we assigned parking and we painted it. And I see that they painted it. So there's no way somebody told you,
Oh, yes,
park
they
wherever
did.
you want.
Yeah,
I know
they
that
did.
didn't happen.
Yeah, it really did happen
Okay.
exactly that way. And here's the lease. And
why
did
are you
say,
just
look
suing
at
for the tow? Why are you suing for $1,500?
Yeah, that's because of all the, aggravation and, now I'm had to take more medication. I was just aggravated with the whole thing and I lost all my time from work. So
Where did you say that I would look at your lease and see that you could park anywhere you want?
Well, in there, that's pretty much what my landlord said that.
Okay,
it's-
so I cannot look at your lease and see that there's no assigned parking spaces, right?
Well, it doesn't say anything about assigned parking.
Okay. Court's in recess.
So if two people live in an apartment, can one person have the other person's car towed if they're parking in your space?
I think so. I think it's okay to tow the car because it is her friend's parking space.
Fair enough. I mean, do you think it's legal to do? You both have a right to live in that building.
Well, sorry. I think, they should work it out between them two before.
That ain't gonna happen now. Okay, that ship has sailed. Can you tow the car?
Yes, I think so. Because it's your property, it's your space, you're assigned to it, so it belongs to you.
Good luck living there, going inside the courtroom.
Let me ask you something, because I can understand how somebody would be angry that a neighbor had them towed, that they weren't neighborly. I can understand that. I can't understand how you would look me in the eye and bold-faced perjure yourself over $100 and something tow fee and call it a $1,500 lawsuit. I just spoke to your management company. Mm-hmm. Number one, the picture you took is not of the building she lives in. Okay? It's nowhere near the building she lives in. Not only that, they have a specific recollection of speaking to you after your tow. And not only did they never tell you you can park wherever you want, but they say you are a bold-faced liar when you say that it wasn't marked. So not only are you lying about it, which makes sense since you walked in here explaining how disoriented you were. Oh, you know, it was kind of disoriented. I've been to the doctor. Medicine really affects me. You know, which I don't know why you're saying all this to me other than to explain how you mistakenly parked in someone else's space that was marked. But okay, they say they spoke to you and it was absolutely marked and that was your discussion, which was, well, it's not fair that some people get to have marked spaces, but other people don't. And that's exactly coincidentally what you wrote in the pictures. Okay, so you pawn off the wrong picture that's not marked, and then in other pictures you circle and say it's discrimination. So you waste my time, his time, and her time. You're right. I'm going to bang that gavel, and you're going to be out of here. Verdict for the defendant.
Oh my, here comes the plaintiff, and what just happened?
That's terrible. I felt she was very rude to me, to be a judge, not to take in all the evidence. It was clear that when I came home, we've always been able to park there. I will call management because management told me, go according to your lease. There is no assigned parking. Otherwise, I wouldn't have came here. She did not knock on my door.
You didn't expect the judge to call management and get the real story on you, did you?
Yes, I wanted her to because the real story is that you can park there. There is no assigned parking. I don't know what
What, is she hearing things?
I don't know what transpired.
Okay.
I'll find out.
All right, you head right around the corner this way. And all right, you come on in here and step in. You stand right next to her, okay? What's your feeling on this here?
I had no doubt at all that this kid, that I would win this case. As I said before, it's ridiculous. As the judge said, it was a waste of time. But
why would she do this to you?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. She said she got home at 5:30.
Did you need to go through the towing and all that? Did you need to do that?
I did because I knocked on her door. And they silenced the television and, you know, so I think that she purposely parked there.
See what Harvey has.
By the way, there are laws about when you can tow a car, by the way, and they vary from state to state. So you should probably check that and make sure you know the law before you do it. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.